Thank you. Tom Stewart here. I'm with Liz Trotter. This is Monday, the 7th of goodness gracious, July. And this is Smart Business Week. Hey, Liz, how are you?
Hey, Tom, I'm doing well. I'm excited that it's July, but really 4th of July is already come and gone. I'm like, what's going on? When you get older, time flies, and man, I believe it. Okay, why are we getting the funky feedback?
What funky feedback?
You didn't get it?
You talking about sound?
Yeah, I'm hearing myself after. Let me turn down my speaker, see if that helps. Does that help? You didn't hear it anyway.
I'm not hearing it on my side.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me? Oh, get out.
Let me see if I have just a little bit of speaker. All right.
Yeah, we're starting the second half off here, and I guess unsurprising.
Hey, we're having trouble now on StreamYard. What? I totally
we've been doing this for a year and a half. We got this down cold.
We got this.
We can't get StreamYard right. We just need to
hang it up.
Pack it in.
All right. So I am. You're going to be doing a presentation today, right, Tom?
We'll do it together. You know, it's a team effort, but you know, and this is a participation activity here. So, you know, please, you know, help us out by, you know, asking some questions and chat, and we can go with it a lot of different ways. But we're going to be talking about this whole entire month is going to be about production planning and scheduling and some of the more nuts and bolts operations, logistics side of the business. And, you know, I don't know about you guys, but I think it's going to be fun.
So much fun. Hey, Tom, maybe we could start with what is production planning? A lot of people don't even know what that means.
I have a piece of news, though. Can I share that first?
Please. Yeah, okay. Please.
Last month, about this time, I shared a Facebook post, and you can't see it because I'm not sharing my screen. I know that. I know that.
It's coming. It's coming.
Here we go.
All right. Wow.
It's called the JOLTS report, and it's job openings and labor turnover. And basically what it does is it measures in terms of like thousands of people, the number of job openings that are out there that are going unfilled. And last month's report, which came out, I guess, at the beginning of June, actually has the April numbers in it. And it set a new record of 9 million in change. And I don't know if you can see that or not, but trust me, it was the biggest number of, you know, unfilled job openings that they've had since they've been doing it. So they can talk about, you know, unemployment and all of that. We know the whole deal about the job market being really tight. It's hard to hire people. And this is just another number showing it. They come out with these numbers this time every month, and they came out with today's numbers as well. And since this is the actual spreadsheet, I can blow that up a little bit. You can see April's number was it was like 9,200,000.
Yeah.
And May's number is a smidge higher, still about 9,200,000, a little bit higher.
Wow.
So fact of the matter is there's still a ton of jobs out there that aren't being filled.
Yeah. A lot of work out there. What was the highest number before, Tom? You said this is the highest it's ever been.
That I don't know. But I remember seeing that last month that this is a new record. Now, they haven't been doing it forever. They've been doing it for about 20 years. This is a relatively new thing. But for the last 20 years, last month's was the highest. I don't know what the previous number was. But it's a pretty cool report. And if you go to, I'll drop the link actually in chat if anybody, you know, is...
Susan.
She says it's blurry.
Is it still blurry, Susan, or was that when he had the little tiny version?
The little one.
It looks pretty good to me right now.
Okay. Yeah, I dropped the link. It's, you know, Bureau of Labor Statistics. They got a lot of really, you know, cool stuff there if you're nerdy. If you want to look at this, and I don't have any sage advice in terms of, okay, now this is the actionable takeaway I have from this. It's just
it's interesting.
It's kind of an affirmation. If you're wondering if you're the only person out there that can't hire anybody, then, well, the government is confirming that you're not. There's 9 million plus other jobs that are going unfilled as well.
Wow, that is crazy. But everywhere you go, you can really see it, not just because of the help wanted signs either. I'm noticing it in a lot of different areas. For example, one of our favorite restaurants doesn't open now until 5 p.m., I think. They used to be open all day long, but now they only open at 5, and I'm pretty sure it's 5, and they're open until like 10. That's it. Used to be, it didn't really matter when I didn't even know they closed. I mean, right. I had no idea that they even closed. But now it's very clear that they are not open the majority of the time. And there are quite a few places like that just can't stay open. Or when they are open, lines are ridiculous because there's just nobody there to work. It takes so much longer. Everything is just so constrained, labor constrained right now, that even if you weren't in a business where you needed to hire labor, you're going to feel it. You're feeling the pinch.
Yeah, I was reading an article the other day. Can't remember what it was in. I actually found it on LinkedIn and clicked on it. It was an article, I don't know, maybe in Wall Street Journal, something like that, about how so many, especially kind of the hourly pay, lower quartile type jobs like the ones that we provide, are automating, and more and more cashier jobs are going away, and some consumers are like revolting. They had situations like in a Walmart somewhere down south, I forget where like everybody refused to use the automatic checkouts, and they had one person running the manual checkout line, and people were like backed up all the way to the back of the store. And wow. I don't know, there's nothing at Walmart that I want bad enough that I would stand in a line that long. If I didn't do the automatic checkout, I think I would go to Target. But anyway, that's going on. But like some fast food places are putting in like voice recognition, ordering through the drive-through. Wow. And more of the jobs that you can't hire for with the salaries going up, it's becoming more economical to use artificial intelligence, robotics, whatever, to make it go away. And there's some speculation that the pressure on wages that we're feeling, and we're having to raise wages, that in the end this might work out okay for. It's hard for us to automate house cleaning. Yeah. So we're just going to have to deal with it. But with this automation and other areas, there's going to be fewer jobs available for the population from which we'd be hiring. So, yay for us. We want Walmart to put in, I mean, I don't know if this is politically correct or not, but if you want more people, who might be interested in working with your cleaning business, the more automated checkouts that retailers put in, and voice recognition in the drive-throughs and so forth, that'll be good for us.
Gosh, I really hadn't even thought of that to that level. We're not having that here yet, which I am shocked, because we are so employee friendly over here in the Pacific Northwest. But I don't want to go to a cashier. I hate going to the cashiers. I love the self-check. And here, at least where we are, self-check is definitely busier than the cashier lines. Much busier.
Once again, Liz, we're on opposite sides of the issue.
Yeah.
I mean, this is almost up there with cheese puffs. What intrinsic value does scanning your own groceries have
how do
for
you
you.
not want to check your own groceries? Okay.
Because I'm not 12 years old. I mean, the lights flashing and the lasers and the beeping. Yeah, when the kids were small, that was awesome. But I'm getting to the point where I've been there, done that.
Okay, well, I hate to tell you, Tom, but at least where I am, the majority of the people are in the self-check lines. It's faster. That's my thing. It's much faster. I don't have, if there's a problem, I know how to handle it. I can handle it quickly. I can back my own stuff correctly.
And you know what? I mean, okay, I digress here, but truly, this is something that I really struggle with. Is like if I'm at the grocery store and I'm checking myself out, and I see I've got some type of weird ass, some weird produce in my cart.
Yeah,
it's like, oh crap, there's no barcode. I've got to flip through all the pictures and kind of figure out what this.
Okay,
you know what I'm talking about?
I don't have that problem. I know what everything.
That is stressful for me.
Tom, you're so funny.
It is.
It's not joking. That's why it's funny.
If I've got 3 things and they have a barcode on it, okay, I can handle it. But if I gotta like look at pictures and figure out, well, is this the organic one or not? I don't. It's just
okay. I don't have that problem. I don't put things into my cart that I don't know what they are. I buy things that I know. I'm like, I want jalapenos, so jalapenos is what I put in my cart.
But you still don't know the code. You still got to flip through the pictures to find it, right?
Look at that yellow thing right there. That's pretty. I'm going to buy that. Oh, no, I can't. It's too hard to check out. How am I to find that yellow thing in the pictures? See?
Okay. Well, Susan is with you. She prefers self-checkout. Less people
Everyone
touching
does.
Everything.
Tom, everybody prefers self-checkout. Until I know that you are not a lazy person, okay? And I know that you're intelligent. But until I heard that you wanted to have somebody else check you out, my thought was always, oh, those are people that are really tired. They're lazy. They're not bright. So I'm thinking.
God blesses us all differently, okay? And maybe, this is just one area that there's a gap.
You got me going good here today, Tom. I kind of feel like you're punking me a little.
No, given the choice, all things being equal, I will let somebody else check out my groceries.
Yes.
Now, if I've got one thing in my hand and it's got a barcode on it, yeah, maybe I might do the self-checkout if I can just go beep, beep, and, credit card.
But not if it's a vegetable. You are not checking
out. Forget it. No vegetable. And if I have like a full cart, like if there's like, a couple few hundred bucks worth of stuff there is no way I'm going to sell. I'll stand in a line forever before I'll deal with that self-checkout.
So I wonder if that is, I wouldn't have thought it before, but I wonder if that is a regional distinction. I don't know.
I guess it depends what type of service you get too, which we could talk about your deli experience at Harris Teeter, but we don't have time for that today, do we? Want to talk about production planning a little bit?
Yes, production planning. But first, you were going to explain for people what production planning is. For the people who haven't heard of it, don't really know much about it.
Okay, that's a really good question.
That's why I'm here, Tom.
Yes, indeed. Okay, production planning is kind of the process you go through in advance, looking ahead over the next several weeks, trying to figure out, do I have enough technicians cleaning professionals to handle the work that I have on the schedule? Do I have enough jobs on the schedule to keep all of my technicians busy? Are those jobs scheduled in a way over the next several weeks where the actual labor hours to complete all of those jobs matches up with the technicians I have? Are the jobs scheduled in a way where the drive time is managed and hopefully as small as it needs to be? Are the teams generating the appropriate amount of revenue each day? Is there, efficiency factor? And we'll get into what all of this means here in a little bit, where we want it to be. Do I need to do more recruiting to find more cleaning professionals and get them trained so a month from now I won't be short? And factoring in things like, whatever your average turnover rate is and other calculations. It's basically looking ahead, playing what if, and making decisions today so you'll be in a better position, 2 weeks out, a month out, or further, rather than, oh my goodness, I don't have enough people, or I don't have enough work, or I don't have enough something else, or I've got way too much work today and I don't have enough work tomorrow. Fixing that the day of or the day before is a whole lot harder than addressing it a month out. So that, in general, is what we're talking about with production planning.
So this is how I think of it. I think of it as budgeting for your scheduling. So it's just like the budgeting process. You want to do it in advance. You can do it day of. Absolutely. You can just spend your money willy-nilly. You have money, great. You spend it and you're good to go. And some days you're like, overdraw your checking account. And other days you're like, oh yeah, plenty of money left over. But if you do production planning, you plan in advance, you do your budgeting in advance, you know exactly how much money you have, exactly how many jobs you need, exactly how many employees you need. I love doing production planning because it just makes every day easier. Don't have to do it, but sure makes your life better. Hey, Tom, I like this new deck. Is this brand new? Did you create it for this?
I did. I created it just for this. Now,
it's
nice. I guess full disclosure, what we're talking about here is kind of an abridged mini version of material that we go over in a lot more painful detail in foundations.
Well,
is it okay for me to say that? It's not painful, but this is we're gonna give you an overview today of some material that we do a deeper dive on in foundations. How about that?
Well, you know what? Since you pulled this up real quick, I'm just going to real quick hit you up with, I'm redoing all of my decks for foundations right now. Do we have a new template that we want to use, or are we just going to use?
We probably, the answer to that question is no, we don't, but yes, we should. And let's make sure we do.
All right. You're the one that usually creates these. So when you get one for us, let me know and I'll get all my decks moved over.
Yeah. And I've got aspirations. You told me that you were going to redo all your decks.
Yeah.
We'll kind of get this already in July, right?
Yeah.
So we're like 1 week into July. How's that going so far?
I have pulled up one.
Okay.
But then that's what came up for me was, I'm pretty sure we're going to have a new background and everything. That's why I'm bringing it up now. I'm like, I think we need a new background.
Yeah, we'll do that.
All right. See what happens when you guys don't comment. Tom and I, we just talk about whatever we got.
You guys, this is self-inflicted here. We could be going in a different direction if somebody want to ask a question.
All right. I'm going to let us get back to production planning because I really do love this topic. I really, really do.
Okay. So this is kind of another, I guess, definition of production planning. Several objectives. You're trying to maximize profit by, finding the right balance between a number of things. So one thing that production planning will do for you, if you are like consistently doing it, having the discipline to do it, and you don't have to be perfect with it. The idea of, exactly, how many, cleaning technicians and exactly, how many jobs, and stuff changes and you might not know exactly, because you're going to know a heck of a lot better and be a lot better prepared than what you will if you don't even think about it until the day of. So you want to maximize profit and find the right balance between, the number of technicians you need. And really what you're trying to do is maximize the lifetime value of your cleaning professionals, of your technicians. We've used this fancy term, human capital. Now, in a perfect world, you can maximize the return on your technicians. At the same time, the lifetime value of customers. You want to maximize that. At the same time, you want to maximize your return on just capital in general. And capital is the stuff that you buy, the material stuff, like automobiles, for instance. And you can say vacuum cleaners and equipment and stuff like that. And even your office space and stuff like that should be considered as capital as well. And I used to have this slide that said, maximize your lifetime value of your cleaning professionals, maximize lifetime value of customers, maximize return on capital. But the fact of the matter is you can't maximize all three of those at the same time, because you're always kind of playing one off against the other. And the real art to this is getting all three of them as high as you can and still kind of keeping your other commitments together. And, we'll talk a little bit more about what that looks like. And it's important to know that when you add additional resources and what quantities, basically. So, how many cleaning professionals, how many homes, how many people in your office staff, we call them support staff, how much equipment, being able to predict, how many of those that you're going to have at any point in time. And do you have surpluses, too many, or do you have deficits, not enough? What decisions you need to make sure that you never have large amounts of too much of something and large amounts of not enough of something else.
So that your morning isn't chaotic. You had too many jobs and not enough people, or too many people and not enough jobs.
That's a good point. I remember this, the alarm go off and you're just hating the idea of going to work.
Oh, I remember
the morning, just dealing with the morning.
Absolutely. I absolutely remember that. Yeah, it was terrible.
And this was back when there was like an answering machine. When somebody was going to call in, it was going to be on the answering machine.
Yeah.
And you'd look at the answering machine, it would have that little red LED number that was like how many messages were sitting there.
666.
Just blinking. Remember that? And the last thing you wanted to do is push the button and listen, who's not coming to work today?
And you're always praying, please let it be customers. Please let it be customers.
Yeah.
Even though I want the money, it's so much less chaotic if the customers call out than if the employees did.
Truly. There have been times it's like, if one of them was like, I need to skip my cleaning today. It's like, yes.
I'm like, I'm so glad. Business is so much easier when we don't have customers. I'm like, what?
If we didn't have any customers, this day would be a breeze. I wouldn't have to do any running, credit cards.
I do think we're going to have to look at this term human capital, Tom. I have a feeling that term is going to get us in trouble before too horribly long.
Could be. And just like maybe it has some, it could be perceived in a negative way.
Yeah. That it's not, that we're not seeing people as people. We're seeing them as commodities, or,
Yeah.
That's not
I'm open to that. Maybe we should do something different.
Just call them cleaning professionals the vast majority of the time.
Just to make sure that we're, I didn't invent that term.
Oh, I know.
If you go to that link that I sent you from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, you'll find that term all over the place.
So you blame them. Anybody that doesn't
blame our federal government for that.
Yeah.
Department of Labor uses that. So
I'm not thinking we're going to have trouble from cleaning business owners so much as we might start getting a little bit of pushback from the human capital themselves. I just got a little twinge. I was like, ooh, starting to get sensitive to some of that stuff.
But
anyway,
it's important to look at your your cleaning professionals as an asset, though. And one of the objectives in production planning is maximizing your return on that investment. You want generate as much revenue per hour per salary dollar as you can, and still giving adequate treatment to what the customers need and what your cleaning professionals need themselves, and your other stakeholders. So there's just several things in terms of ground rules and parameters, and there's a lot of different ways to do this, but this is kind of I'm going to be a little bit prescriptive here. This is the way that we've taught it in foundations for the last 10 times, and this is the way we're going to be teaching it in the 11th time, and maybe the 12th time, who knows. And it's also the way that Castle Keepers has done it for the last 25 years, and it's also the way that we do it in MAIDCENTRAL. It's what we would call the MAIDCENTRAL way. And when you're selling recurring service, we strongly recommend that you do all your production planning. And another dimension is this is about production planning and scheduling. The other in dispatching. Let me define the other two things. Scheduling is what you do more short term, typically the day before, making any refinements of who's working, who isn't, what teams they're assigned to, what homes are being cleaned that day, and do I have all the equipment? Is there any special considerations that we need to do? Who needs to be communicated with and about what? All of that's kind of the scheduling thing. And dispatching is what we call game day. That is the stuff that happens day of, when the work instructions go out and your teams, get in automobiles and go out and clean homes. And, if that's happening between the hours of 9 to 5, then whatever support and monitoring and coaching and modifications you're doing for the jobs and the teams that are being scheduled for that day, that's the dispatching component. So we're talking about production planning. That's the longer term planning. We're talking about scheduling. That's, the day before, or, maybe a couple of days before you start that. And dispatch is day of. That's game time. So it's all important. A lot of times when you're like picking between multiple priorities, if there's a dispatching issue that needs to be dealt with, then as a rule, that's what you deal with, because that's game time. You can deal with the scheduling thing or the dispatching thing once the production planning or the scheduling thing, once you deal with the dispatching thing. But the dispatching thing, you've got real people on the clock and real customers who are getting clean. That takes the priority. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that example of it. And just to point out that one of the things that happens in our businesses is, as we get busy, we drop the production planning part first, because it's so far out and it doesn't seem as urgent. Well, it isn't. And then the scheduling piece can get pushed aside a little bit, and then pretty soon here you are in firefighting mode, dispatching, and every day is chaotic. So the way to get out of that, one of the ways to get out of that chaos, is to do the production planning, which is big part of why we're having this discussion today.
So one of the things that we strongly recommend is you do your recurring schedules on a 4-week rotation. And I've got a spreadsheet. I'll show you a little bit more about what that looks like. But if you take the year and look at it in 4-week segments, there's like 13 4-week segments in a year. 13 times 4 is what, 52? So
I want to be clear real quick. He's not saying that he's recommending that you schedule your jobs every 4 weeks. Hey, Lisa, that's not what he's saying. So for those of you that are checked out right now, arguing your heads like, what? No, I want biweekly or whatever. Stick with us. He's getting that.
We want high frequency recurring revenue. Yeah. If we can get a bunch of weeklies and biweeklies, that's preferable. That's awesome. I guess what I am suggesting with you, though, if you've got customers that want to go like every 3 weeks, every 5 weeks, those are decisions that you need to make. And depending upon your situation, where you are, and what the competitive forces within your market and your particular business needs, they might be rational decisions to make. But I can tell you, from a production planning standpoint and a scheduling standpoint, you're making your life a whole lot more difficult. And at some point, when you get big enough, it gets easier, at least my assessment, my experience, it gets easier to say, you know what, we're not going to do any more of those every 3-week jobs or every 5-week jobs or whatever, because it blows my entire schedule up. Whatever money I'm making off of that job is creating too many inefficiencies and too much loss of productivity in other areas.
I do have to say, though, Tom, I think about one of my MMA members that they schedule primarily every 3 weeks. Over 60% of their business, big company, doing close to 2 million right now, and over 60% of their business is every 3 weeks. So their standard schedule is weekly, 3 weeks, and 6 weeks, which is very interesting.
That actually could work. Mm-hmm. What would your scheduling window be, though? It wouldn't be every 4 weeks. Would it be?
I should ask.
52 divided by what? It doesn't even have to be exact. I mean, I guess you could have 3-week scheduling window in the option, or 6-week scheduling window in the options. But in that scenario, I'm assuming they don't do every 2 weeks or every 4 weeks.
They do, but they just have a lot less of every 2 and every 4.
Those are the ones that blow up their schedule.
Right. And so the reason I'm bringing that up is because it goes to your point that you want to be setting up your production planning in a way that makes sense for your business, so that you know what you're trying to build in, and you also know what you're trying to build out and push one way or the other. So I'm sure that when they get people that want to go E2 every 2 weeks, they're pushing them to weekly. And if they really don't want weekly, then they're going E3 every 3 weeks. So it's just an interesting way of doing it.
This is way too small, isn't it?
There we go. We're getting better. I can see it on my very large screens.
How about that?
It looks good to me.
This is just a spreadsheet I whipped together before we started today's show. And I started with Sunday, the 3rd of 2021. So for this calendar year, this would be the first week of 2021.
Your X's in the middle. I can't see what's happening here.
Sure. Well,
I got you. I didn't even see that first every week. I thought the one. Okay, doesn't matter. That's good. Thank you.
And while we're at it,
I see what you got going on.
Yeah, and so this is week 1, and this is the week of the year. Week 1, week 2, and all the way down to week 52. Okay.
Yeah.
And this is the Sunday. And you can start your work week on any day of the week that you want. Our SOP for that, the way that we do it at Castle Keepers, we started on a Sunday. That gives us a little bit of wiggle room. We believe over the course of the year we save a little bit of overtime doing it that way, because if you got work that didn't get done by the end of day Friday, but you got to get it done before Monday, then if somebody's got hasn't reached 40 hours in that week, they can get it done Saturday. If working Saturday puts them in overtime, you can say, I'll tell you what, we're going to schedule that for Sunday, and we got the whole rest of the week to figure out how to manage the hours so they don't get into overtime.
That's nice.
But nice. There's other reasons to do it for other days of the week too. But we do a fair amount of work that takes us into the weekend, and you're able to manage the overtime a little bit better that way. But this column here is the week rotation number. And see how it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it just keeps repeating itself.
Yep.
And if we counted, it does that 13 times.
13 times.
13 times. I knew that. So if I have a home that goes every week, then they'd be going every week. How about that?
Yeah.
If I've got a home that goes every 2 weeks, and I just happen to schedule it, the first job on, this week here, week 1, it doesn't go week 2, but it goes again week 3, week 1 again, which is number 5 in the year, week 7 of the year, which is week 3 in the 4-week rotation. You notice what's happening here. And I took the even number weeks and didn't highlight them. I took the odd number weeks and turns them this peach color.
Mm-hmm.
So these guys are not going on the non-colored weeks. They're always going on an odd week. And
put a little Z in there on that week number 2, and you did the same thing, then you would have those people would be going on all of the even weeks.
Yep. We do the exact same thing where, here's another customer here, and we would schedule them on, they started on an even week and they never skipped or got bumped or whatever. They would always be cleaned on an even number week, either week 2 or week 4.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of you right now are thinking, yeah, we all do this. I don't understand. What's the point? Don't worry. He's got some good stuff coming here.
Every 4 weeks, I get scheduled, and if I'm whatever week I'm on in the rotation, if I never skip, bump, whatever, I'm always on that number week. So if I go every 4 weeks and I started on week 1 and I never miss a cleaning, I'll always be cleaned on week 1. So the cool part of that, I tried to build a spreadsheet to show this, and I don't know if I'm doing an awesome job of this or not. This is kind of like the master schedule, and across the top represents the 4 weeks of the 4-week rotation. And each one of these are teams. So this is like team 1, team 2, team 3. Let's pretend that we're scheduling for 3 teams. And these are 5 days of the week that we're scheduling for. And if you notice here, what's wrong with these week numbers here? Can you see that?
Yep.
Not very
1,
good.
3, 2, 4.
1, 3, 2, 4. I can't count straight, can I?
Well, I think it's really good for the master schedule, but not really good for math.
Yeah. This is one way of looking at your schedule, where if you've got a home, and I'm just going to draw some graphics here and show you how you can schedule, say,
who are you, Mr. Facebook user or Ms. Facebook user, that says Tom looks weird? Because, gosh, that's not nice.
I look weird. I should say I look weird. They say that.
Oh, did I get that
weird.
wrong, Tom? Sorry.
Oh. I don't look weird. I don't know. I might look weird.
It's Pam. Hey, Pam.
Hello, Pam. How are you? So if I wanted to schedule an every 2-week customer, and my schedule is wide open, I could schedule it wherever I wanted to, but I would show it on my master schedule like this, where team 1, first job of the day, is getting done on weeks 1 and week 3, and I cover, both weeks. If I wanted to schedule, what did happen there? If I wanted to schedule a monthly customer. Try that again. And we'll make our monthly a different color just to make it a little bit easier.
Thank you.
He would only take up one day, and maybe we're going to schedule him on the 4th Monday on team 1. And if I had an every week customer, and we'll make him a different color too. We'll make him green because that's money.
That's the best one.
And he would go across all 4 weeks. So it's every 4 weeks or every 1 week. It doesn't really matter if I do 1, 2, 3, 4 or 1, 3, 2, 4. But for most of us who build a business primarily off of recurring work, if we're doing it well, and if we're doing it the way that Carrie Knight is encouraging us to do and training it to do, we would have more every other week customers, every 2 week customers than anybody else, right?
Right.
So finding homes for those every other week customers kind of gets confusing if I'm looking at a slot here on week 1 and looking for another slot on week 3 if they aren't together, and there's a home in the middle in week 2, and if you're scheduling this way or scheduling something that looks like this, it gets confusing. But if you put weeks 1, 3, 2, 4 together, it's really easy to see where you've got a hole that you can fit 2 jobs side by side on.
So, Tom, what is the big value of looking at your scheduling in this way, or your production planning probably more in this way? Because this isn't something that you normally see in scheduling programs.
Right. Well, you're always if things are going well, you're always scheduling new work, right?
Yeah.
And you always have that new customer that wants to go on the schedule, and they want, every 2 week service, and you might be doing, phone estimates. They may be on the phone with you, and you're trying to figure out, well, where am I going to schedule them? How am I going to make that work?
Mm-hmm.
An approach like this can lead you to the answer really quickly. You can look at the openings for all of your teams on all of the days of the week, and there could be other color coding that you would do in here where you might be scheduling by zones, and each one of these bars might be a different color representing a different geographic region of your market. You might break it down and say, okay, I'm doing, the south side of town on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and the north side of town on Mondays and Fridays type thing. And you would kind of know where to go there, but you're still looking for a hole, right? This makes it a lot easier to find a hole, regardless if it's every week, every 2 weeks, or every 4 weeks.
MAIDCENTRAL does do this, Lisa. Can you show it in MAIDCENTRAL, Tom? I feel like Katie is going to be doing a presentation on this. I don't know when. She's going to show the MAIDCENTRAL. So we probably don't need to get into all of that today, especially it's 2:47. But if we have the date, Tom, where we can tell, let me see if I can find it here real quick. You can pull up MAIDCENTRAL, and I'll try to find when Katie's going to be here, because she's going to give us a real good tutorial on this. Pam, you've already seen this tutorial. We're going to do it a little bit different than she did before, though. I think you saw it in Vegas. Is that you saying, I need to try this? It's what she showed in Vegas, but she's going to show it a little bit different. Let me find it.
Okay, so this is...
Oh, yeah.
You can do this on a spreadsheet. You can do this on a magnet board. You can do this. I'm sure that there's other tools that you can make, like little Post-it notes, and there's a lot of different things that you could do. You can even do this on a desk calendar if you really want to. We used to do it on a magnet board before we automated it, but this is the way it works in MAIDCENTRAL. And if you can see, I don't know if I can blow this up or not. This is week 1, week 3, week 2, week 4. And these are the actual dates. And see, I've got a hole right here. If I had an every 2-week customer I needed to schedule, I could put it on team 1 on a Tuesday, starting on the 20th, or starting on 8/3, either one, depending on which day I want to do. But that every other week customer, that every 2-week customer would be on the even weeks. If I needed to find a hole for a every week customer, I've got something over here on team 4 because I've got all 4 weeks open here.
But so remember, if you're looking for weekly, you have to be looking for 4 holes in a row, side by side, because you want them to, if you want them to be with the same team. So, so that you guys know, July 26th is when Katie is going to be, Katie loves MAIDCENTRAL. This was she used to use a spreadsheet that Laura Smith created, actually Aja created for Laura Smith at All Star Cleaning. And so Katie was very familiar with that. And when MAIDCENTRAL created it, Katie just lost her mind of how much she loves this. So she's going to do she's going to spend a good half hour answering everybody's questions and helping people to be able to see how this works.
I'm drawing a blank at the moment. Who's our friend from St. Louis that is the accountant? Kathy, it's my understanding that Kathy Gage actually introduced this concept to the industry.
Kathy did this on Post-it notes on a wall. So she had each team was up on a wall, like on a big, those big, huge Post-it notes, like that, something like that. But it wasn't a Post-it note. And then she had all of the days filled out, the week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4 for each team. And then she just had Post-it notes with the customer's name on it. So if it was a weekly customer, they would have 4 Post-it notes. And if it was a bi-weekly, and I think they were different colors. And if it was bi-weekly, they had 2 Post-it notes, or every 2 weeks. And if it was weekly, they had, I think I said that backwards. If it was monthly, they had 1 Post-it note. And so she would just write their name on and then put them on the board. And then it was really easy to see where there was no Post-it note. So I feel like if you look at this that way, that these are like Post-it notes that are on the schedule, it kind of helps to be able to see what it is that you're looking at.
We used to do that with magnet boards and like 1 by 2 inch magnets. And you'd take the little piece of paper and you'd write their name on it. And we had little decals you put on the back that the customer number would be written on it, and we had little colored dots that would go on it that would let you know what zone it was in, and the actual color of the paper on the magnet would let you know if it was every week, every 2 weeks, every 4 weeks. And we had like a 6-foot board for like every day of the week, and we had like what was analogous to the war room in Charleston now with these magnet boards. And there were 4 weeks, weeks 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you were weekly, you had 4 magnets. Like you said, 2 magnets if you're every other week and so forth. In a perfect world, magnets never moved. All you would do is once you were finished with week 1 and you moved to week 2, you used like a erasable marker, and you would erase the date, the Sunday date from week 1, and you write the Sunday up there 4 weeks out, and that would be your next week 1, and the magnets never moved. Now, people skipped and bumped and all of that. So there were magnets moving, but you'd always put them back too, because they would have their number on a sticker on the board. And I digress, and I don't know how useful this is, but it was really awesome.
If you are very tactile, you would love the magnet system as well. And Kathy's Post-it note system was really good for those people that really love. Tom, why don't you like to check your own stuff out. I'm just got to go back to that. You are very tactile. Why don't you like to grab that gun and do your own thing?
Is it the gun? I mean, you're actually like holding cans against this.
No, they have a gun. They have a little gun. You just point it.
Not at our grocery stores.
Oh, really?
I mean, at like the home improvement stores like Lowe's and so forth, where you got like all kinds of weird things that they're making you check out. There's a gun
ours has a gun. Our grocery stores have a gun, a little handheld thing, and it is easy. You just point, and
well, maybe that's part of it. If I had a gun, maybe I'd feel differently because, I'm up here with this watermelon with this little barcode on it, trying to.
We digress. Sorry, folks.
Okay. Let's go ahead and
where are we at? Yeah, let's move forward.
A reasonable conclusion. We find value in creating a hierarchy when we have a customer that, we live in Charleston. There's a lot of customers here that will have like more than one home. Actually, they'll have like a home downtown and something else on the beach, and it's one customer, two homes. We also do a lot of like vacation rentals and Airbnbs and stuff like that, where you might have a host that has a whole bunch of homes. So, we start with the idea of you have a customer, and that's the person or company that commissions the work, who says, hey, I want you to clean for me, and I have the authority to ask you to clean for me because I'm responsible for this home or multiple homes. And they're the person who pays the bill. You send the bill to the customer or charge that customer's credit card. Underneath that customer, you can have a home, and a home is a place that people live, eat, sleep, and bathe in. It's the property that's controlled by the customer. We schedule using this thing called service sets, and you can actually manage this with just pieces of paper and a scope of work, and have two scopes of work. A service set is basically a unique scope of work for a particular home. And a service set might be, I'm going to clean the entire house, do it like a general clean. Another service set might be, I'm just going to clean the downstairs of the house. And the downstairs of the house is going to have a different allowed time. That's the time that you would expect your cleaning professionals to take to clean the home. It would also have a different bill rate because it would be less work, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times you can get more work. You talk about lifetime value of a customer. You want to get that high recurring, revenue off of them. They might have rooms in the house that they don't use very much, and they don't want to pay to get the whole house cleaned every week or every other week. But you give them the option to say, I'll clean your whole house maybe every 4 weeks, and then the off weeks from that, I'll just clean these rooms that are really important to you. That in essence, you've made them an every 2 week customer. You're just doing two different
service sets.
Service sets, two different scopes of work. Still going every even week or every odd week, but just it's like 2 every 4 week customers as opposed to 1 every 2 week customer. It's really 1 every 2 week customer that's being treated as 2 every 4 week customers.
Right.
Or homes, if you will. And a job is one particular date where you're scheduled to go out and perform a particular service set or scope of work at a particular home. And if you think of it that way, you can create more opportunities for yourself, especially at the service set level, because it's just another variation that you can use to encourage people to do more work with you and still do it in a way that fits within whatever scheduling logic you do. And if you're doing a 4-week rotation, it's easier to get them to fit in with that if you give them the extra option of service sets. Or if you're doing something like every 6-week rotation and pushing more times every 3 weeks, every 6 weeks, that's really kind of cool. It would work there too. Maybe even more valuable being able to do multiple service sets with a rotation like that. So that maybe is what it looks like. Another thing that we believe it's important is we schedule to teams. When you're back looking at the world on a magnet board with weeks 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the magnets are there all over the place, and the objective is, once you place that weekly customer there, that every 2-week customer there, that you never have to touch those magnets again, assigning everything to teams makes it really easy at that point, because your homes get assigned to teams, your cleaning professionals get assigned to teams, equipment gets assigned to teams, where you've got a set of equipment from a vacuum cleaner to a caddy to a bucket. All this belongs to team number 1, all this belongs to team number 2, and so forth. Cars are assigned to teams. Supervisors are assigned to teams. If you're big enough where you have like multiple supervisors, you can expect them out in the field, training and coaching and so forth, you can assign supervisors to teams, and everything's assigned to a team. If something changes, you just basically assign some other resource to that team and everything works. Whereas if you're scheduling to like cleaning professionals, there's some approaches where, I assign the home to a team and it's assigned to Betty. And that's really awesome until when Betty doesn't come to work, and then things can kind of break down. It's just everything works when you have to make a change if everything's pointing towards a team.
All right, and so I'm going to clarify just a little bit. A team does not mean, in the context of MAIDCENTRAL especially, it doesn't mean it's 2 people. A team it can be any size. It is this set of stuff, people, equipment, car. It's all of the stuff that is going to service that home. That's the team. Right. So the team is not about, a lot of times people hear team and they think 2. Right?
No, you can have 1-person teams.
Yeah. Yeah.
One person team. If you do solos, the way that we do solos in Castle Keepers as well, and we do teams, we kind of do a hybrid thing, and a lot of that evolved over COVID because we're dealing with all these unprecedented events, and they're still assigned to teams, and these are solo teams. But it's easier to do that because when a particular cleaning professional, is taking vacation or whatever reason, if they're not available, you don't have to move anything else. You just assign another cleaning professional to that team, and everything else stays the same.
So that's why I really like to think of teams in terms of all of this stuff. The cleaning professionals, the equipment, the car, the supervisor, all of that is the team. That's what it is required to create the team. And if one of those things is gone, well, the team still exists. You just need to put a new one in. If the piece of equipment is broken from team 1, it doesn't mean everybody, we have to change the customers and we have to change cleaning professionals, a new car. None of that has to happen. We just need to get another vacuum cleaner to sub in for team 1's vacuum cleaner. So I really like the idea of thinking of teams in terms of everything that is required to the team that is required to, I want to say clean the home, but that's not the term I was looking for, but to clean the home.
To do the job.
Yeah, to do the job.
Complete the job.
Deliver the service. That's what I was trying to say.
Deliver the goods.
Yeah.
Okay. It's past the top of the hour.
Oops.
Wang.
We started late, y'all.
We could go on for another hour or more, but we're not today. But we're going to be doing production planning and scheduling for the entire month of July. So you'll be hearing more, and we get a window of opportunity. We might jump into the deck and do a little bit more, because I have to remember this stuff anyway. We're going to need it in October, right?
Okay, and for anybody that's interested, the 24th, Katie's going to be on. She's going to be doing a deep dive into that master schedule and how to, she's not going to be using MAIDCENTRAL, so don't worry, it's going to be just MAIDCENTRAL. It's how to use this concept and how to actually fill holes and to be able to schedule, do production planning way in advance by using this method. Super helpful.
If you do your production planning right, your scheduling, the amount of time you have to spend scheduling goes down. You know, it's just you're making a tweak here and there, but most of it's set for perpetuity, because you've got your defaults for your cleaning professionals and your homes and everything else with default teams, and they've been already assigned based on what the master schedule's telling you, and it just
y'all know that if your scheduling is on point, even dispatching is better. And we all know there's going to be some chaos around dispatching, right? But even your dispatching is better if your scheduling's on point.
So today's Wednesday, right?
Today's Wednesday.
This is just so weird. Monday was
feels like Monday. I know.
Yeah. So we're done for the week, but we're going to be on Monday. What are we doing Monday, Liz?
Let me pull it up and see. Monday, the 12th. Oh, we have Chris Willett. He's going to be talking about scheduling efficiency, especially since COVID, right? Things are so much different now. He's going to be talking about solos, how to optimize using solos, reduced work times because people don't want to work as much. He's got a lot of different things he's going to be talking about.
He basically reinvented his business over COVID.
He did. He did.
This is, I know Chris. Chris has game. There's a lot of things to be learned that Chris is going to be sharing on Monday. You don't want to miss that. So in the interim,
just FYI, you're going to be in Chris's new group. Pam's moving over to Success Group, and Chris is in that group. You're going to love it. Yeah.
So are we done for the week?
We're done. That's it.
Monday, 5 o'clock Eastern. We'll be here. You guys take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.